We are on the GCP console homepage and we'll be exploring some sections within the BigQuery. We can launch the BigQuery from here in the quick access area, or you can directly jump into the specific activity of the BigQuery from here. Let me launch the BigQuery. By default, let me collapse this side navigation menu. Other than that, the view that you have now is the BigQuery Studio. This is one of the activity or the submenu under this three main sections of the left side navigation panel. We have the analysis, migration and administration. Analysis focuses mostly on the data exploration, querying and analyzing the data. And migration is mostly a one-time activity to move the data for the organizations from their on-prem environments or from a different cloud to the BigQuery. And administration is where you maintain and manage your BigQuery resources, resource utilization, overall health and slot reservations and some more. Let's explore the different submenus available in the sections and get to know what is what and when we'll be using that. Under Analysis tab, we have this BigQuery Studio. This is the default sections which you are seeing when you are launching the BigQuery. Here is where we spend most of our time in accessing the datasets, tables and views and writing BigQuery SQL scripts to transform the data, and all those steps will be done through the BigQuery Studio. And the next is our data transfer. Data transfer connects the data from your on-prem or the different data sources and brings the data into the BigQuery. Here you may wonder how this is different from the data migration area. The difference is this is an one-time activity and the needs are little bit different than an ongoing automated pipelining. This is what we are doing through the data transfer. It can bring and sync the data from those different data sources and to make the data sync from the operational data to the BigQuery by building the pipelines from the data transfer here. But the migration will help to assess the databases of the on-prem and how to move the data to the BigQuery. And next is the schedule queries. When you are writing the BigQuery SQL in the BigQuery Studio, you can save those queries and share, and you can schedule those queries to periodically runs for the transformations and cleaning up for the data quality issues, and those things can be done through the scheduling the scripts which we are writing here, and that can be managed through the scheduled queries. Next one is an interesting, the analytic hub, where you can build, after building your data, the curated zone or the curated area, after cleaning up the problems, fixing the data quality issues, data integrity issues, and you can expose this data set to different departments within the organization or even outside to a different third-party vendors or any parties outside the organizations. This you can do that without moving your data from the BigQuery, and also in a secure fashion by using the identity and access management principles. You can control those accesses securely, and at the same time, without moving the data, you can expose those data sets to those different parties or the different departments within the organization. You will be publishing those data, and they can even find for the data sets within the organizations, and they can subscribe those data sets and to keep an eye on the changes on the data sets to do their exploration of those the BI analytics or any data science activities. And the next one is the data form. This is also a sort of pipelining, but this is a transformations within the BigQuery. You can write the SQL scripts to process the data from the data available within the BigQuery, but you can use that. Typically, the use case can be transformation of the data from the raw zone which you have received the data from the different sources probably by the data transfer or the data flow or the data fusions. Those are the different services of the GCP. After using those pipelines, you can bring the data to the BigQuery. Once it is available, you can use the data form to cleanse those data and to process those data to make as a curated zone or the curated area where the data is more organized and ready for the other further analysis by different teams or the departments. So this can be done through the data form. This can be linked with any GitHub repositories or an inbuilt repository in the GitHub where the team can collaborate for the sharing those SQL scripts which they have done to use those workflow to transform the data within the BigQuery. And the next is the partner center. In case if you don't find some feature which is not available in the BigQuery by default, you can find those tools and services from the different third-party vendors that will be listed here in the partner center. You can use those tools and services to work with the BigQuery to be more productive. And finally, within the analysis section is the orchestration. This manages the workflow type of activities. The right candidates for this section will be either the scheduled queries or the data form, or we have the notebooks and the workflows which will be seen in the BigQuery Studio section. So we have those concepts, and that will be all these are dealt with the data movement or the pipelining or the workflows. So all these things can be organized, and it will be orchestrated through the section of the orchestration that is also under the analysis section of the left side navigation bar here. So in a brief, like in the analysis section, focuses mostly on the data exploration. The BigQuery is where we'll be writing our scripts and working mostly interacting with the data sets of the BigQuery, and the data transfers, building an automated pipeline, scheduled pipeline to bring the data from different sources to as a destination to the BigQuery. And scheduled queries, you can whatever this query that queries the BigQuery SQL which you are writing in the BigQuery Studio can be scheduled and managed here in the separate section of the scheduled queries area. And the analytics hub, that you can publish the data, list the data sets of the BigQuery to a different department or the external parties. And data form can be used to curate the data, to organize the data, transform the data from the BigQuery to the BigQuery. Okay, you can, it's a form of cleansing the data. And then the partner center will find the tools and services of the third parties which is built for the BigQuery, that you'll be utilizing those services to be more productive in the BigQuery. And finally the orchestration organizes all the data flow type of works in this area. So in the next video we'll see about the further options and probably separate videos for exploring to deep dive into those different areas. Thank you.